Good evening. This summer of dangerous encounters between planes and threats controlled from the ground has seen one more. It happened just this afternoon, a very close call between a drone and an airliner on approach to New York's Kennedy Airport with 159 people on board. It happened in the most critical phase of the flight, the plane low, traveling around 190 miles an hour, setting up to land when the drone appeared just 100 feet away. NBC's Tom Costello has late information.
Did you know that every single day, drones are spotted dangerously close to airports around the world? In 2023 alone, there were over 240 major incidents involving drones and planes, nearly one every 36 hours. Drones, once dismissed as hobbyist toys, have become vital tools for industries like filmmaking and agriculture. But as they fill our skies, they're also creating new dangers for commercial aviation. In this video, we're breaking it all down. How did drones go from harmless gadgets to potential hazards? What makes them so dangerous to planes? And, most importantly, what's being done to prevent disaster? Okay, we can all agree that drones are now as common as smartphones. Back in the early 2000s, they were mostly military tools. Spy planes used to survey battlefields or carry out covert missions. But today, they're everywhere. Why? Two big reasons: affordability and accessibility. In the last decade, drone prices have plummeted, making them available to almost anyone. The global drone market is projected to hit $63 billion by 2025, and an estimated 9 million drones are buzzing around the world as we speak. While drones have unlocked countless possibilities, they've also unlocked a Pandora's box of problems. According to Aviation reports, there have been over 3,000 drone sightings near airports since 2021, with at least 1,500 of these classified as high-risk encounters. It's not just near airports either. Drones are increasingly entering restricted airspace, with consequences ranging from minor delays to full-on airport shutdowns.
A single individual with a grudge of some sort, or whether it's a group of some sort, there is no yet simple commercially off-the-shelf technology that can guarantee to dispose of to prevent a drone from coming close to an airport.
The flight left 15 minutes late, taxied out towards the runway, and then it just stopped.
One of the most disruptive events occurred in December 2018 at Gatwick Airport in the UK. For 36 hours, repeated drone sightings led to the cancellation of more than 1,000 flights and stranded 140,000 passengers during the busy holiday season.
Assistance and support from the armed forces, and we'll be deploying the armed forces to give them the help that they need to be able to deal with the situation of the drones at Gatwick Airport.
Police and military were deployed, anti-drone technology was tested, and yet the operator was never found. Airlines reported a combined loss of £50 million, not to mention the frustration of thousands of travelers right before Christmas.
We are following developing news right now. Officials at Newark Liberty Airport are telling travelers to check with their airlines for delays.
In 2019, Newark Liberty International Airport also faced a major disruption when a drone sighting caused a temporary halt in operations, just as flights were preparing to take off. This was part of a troubling trend, as between 2018 and 2021, Newark experienced 7 separate drone-related disruptions, each causing significant delays. In 2023, Frankfurt Airport was shaken by a close call involving a drone and an Airbus A320. The plane, carrying more than 150 passengers, had to alter its landing approach to avoid a potential collision with a drone flying at 2,000 feet. Such close calls have surged, with at least 180 near-miss incidents globally reported in 2023 alone. The alarming truth is that these incidents are becoming more frequent. According to the International Air Transport Association, or IATA, drone-related aviation incidents have surged by 80% over the past 5 years. Pilots say they're not just worried about drones disrupting flights, they're terrified of what happens when one actually collides. Okay, we've discussed the stats in theory, but now you're probably wondering, why are drones so dangerous to planes? After all, how much damage could something the size of a shoebox possibly cause to a jetliner that weighs over 100 tons? Turns out, the answer is a lot. First, drones are incredibly hard to detect. Most drones don't have transponders, which means they don't show up on radar systems used by air traffic controllers or onboard aircraft. pilots are essentially flying blind when it comes to detecting them. Unlike birds, drones aren't a natural part of the skies. They're unpredictable and often come out of nowhere. Next, there's the issue of engine vulnerability. If a drone gets sucked into a jet engine, it can cause catastrophic damage. Unlike bird strikes, where organic material typically disintegrates on impact, drones carry metal parts, lithium-ion batteries, and rigid structures. NASA and the FAA conducted simulations in 2022, showing that a drone strike at cruising speed could rip through an engine's fan blades, potentially causing fire, or even complete engine failure. There's also an example from the University of Dayton Research Institute, which simulated a drone collision with an airplane wing at 238 miles per hour. The results were sobering. The drone tore through the wing's leading edge, leaving behind significant structural damage. Now, imagine that happening mid-flight, with hundreds of passengers on board. Drones also exhibit unpredictable behavior. They can experience flyaway incidents, where they lose connection with their operator and drift uncontrollably into restricted airspace. This happens more often than you'd think. Statistics show that 1 in 10 drone users experience a loss of control at least once. In aviation, even a moment of unpredictability can be disastrous. To make matters worse, many of these dangers don't even stem from malice, but from sheer inexperience or negligence. Most drone operators don't understand the complexities of aviation. There's an interesting study about this by Dr. Stephen Wright, an aerospace engineering expert. He points to the Gatwick incident as a turning point. In his own words, "This was the first time that the public became aware that drones could actually bring the whole aviation system to a temporary halt. Governments and aviation authorities have stepped up, but are the measures enough?"
Well, drone operators, heads up, by September 16th, you need to have what's called a remote ID.
It's to increase safety and security, which are top priorities for the Federal Aviation Administration. Teresa Schmidt has more on how to get ready.
The FAA introduced Remote ID in 2023. Think of it as a digital license plate for drones. The system requires most drones to broadcast identifying information, like the operator's location and flight path. In my opinion, it's a step forward, but enforcement remains a major challenge. Not every drone complies with these rules, and tracking rogue drones in real time is easier said than done. In Europe, airports follow the Drone Incident Management at Aerodromes Guide, a comprehensive framework for handling drone threats. But there's a flaw in that too. These guidelines are only as effective as their implementation, and smaller airports often lack the resources to fully adopt them. Counter-drone technologies like geofencing and signal jammers exist, but aren't foolproof. Plus, local law enforcement often lacks the tools or training to deal with unauthorized flights. In other words, there's progress, but gaps remain wide open. Okay, let's face it, drones aren't going anywhere. With millions already in the skies and more to come, the question isn't whether planes and drones can coexist, but how. One promising solution is the development of unmanned traffic management systems, or UTM in short. Think of it as air traffic control for drones. These systems aim to monitor, coordinate, and direct drones within controlled airspace, keeping them far away from airplanes. NASA and AirMap are already testing UTMs, so that's a good sign. However, scaling these systems globally is a massive undertaking. A fully operational UTM would require every drone operator to be registered, every flight to be monitored, and seamless communication between drones, operators, and air traffic control. Another potential solution involves requiring drones to carry automatic dependent surveillance broadcast transmitters, similar to those used by planes. These devices broadcast a drone's location, altitude, and flight path, making them visible to air traffic control. The only problem is cost and complexity. Installing ADS-B in every drone, especially consumer-grade models, would be expensive and potentially overburden a system with too much data. Advances in AI are also paving the way for smarter drones. Collision avoidance systems powered by AI could help drones detect and avoid planes automatically. Some high-end drones already feature this technology, but it's far from foolproof. AI systems rely on cameras and sensors, which can struggle in low light or bad weather conditions. Even with these technologies, the human factor remains a challenge. As we discussed today, many incidents are caused not by technology failures, but by careless or inexperienced operators. Should drone pilots be required to pass certification tests like regular pilots? Who's held accountable when a rogue drone disrupts an airport? A careless hobbyist or the manufacturer? Lastly, there's a big question. Is the investment in coexistence worth it? Or is the risk simply too great? With billions of dollars and thousands of lives at stake, the aviation industry has little margin for error. And as drones continue to grow in number and capability, finding a middle ground will only get harder. So, where does that leave us today? Drones have undoubtedly revolutionized industries, but their increasing presence near airports is a ticking time bomb. Despite advancements in tech and regulation, incidents keep happening. Is it just a matter of time before a catastrophic collision forces drastic changes? The skies are getting crowded, and whether we like it or not, drones are here to stay. The challenge isn't just managing the technology, it's managing the people behind it, and that's a wrap. So what do you think? Can drones and planes coexist? Or are we heading toward an inevitable clash? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to check out my recent video, Top 10 Most Dangerous Airport Runways in the World. Keep flying high with us. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and be ready for more stories that defy the skies.